I found the soundboard, and I'm very excited about that. I can't wait to give somebody the
Crap.
sad trombone.
Oh crap! I can't wait for what I need is a whole bunch of Vader sound clips. You don't know the power of the dark side. That's what I need. All right, welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, gamers of all ages. It's the On the Button podcast, episode 8, take 2, because I suck at this.
Dumbass.
Right, guys?
Episode
Dumbass.
8.5.
8.5. 8.5. It's been a couple of days since our first attempt to record this episode, when we got about 35, 40 minutes into how great conversation, and I looked down and went, wait a minute, OPS isn't picking up my microphone. Why is that? Has that been happening the whole time? Yeah, it has. Wow, that felt so awful. But thankfully, my co-casters. Go ahead.
So what we're going to do is we're just going to play Ian and I talking, and then let you fill in your silences with whatever, because we've already put our 2 cents in already.
Yeah, I'll just make hand puppetry in the background, and we'll just do a repeat. You guys can just jibber jabber, and I'll flap my gums and look like I'm talking. No big deal. No big deal. Well, welcome in, fellas. How you doing?
I've had a great weekend.
Oh,
I've had a fantastic weekend. Not just seeing Metallica yesterday. Like today was Father's Day, and my family knows how to do Father's Day correctly. So I've had a great weekend.
Outstanding.
All the girls come?
What?
Do you have all your girls together?
Yeah, they're both one of them hadn't gone off to college yet. One of them is home from college. So like they just kind of make me food all day and then do whatever I like to do the rest of the day. So we basically just sat on the couch the whole time and watched shows that they never would watch.
I was like, wait a minute, hold on. Your girls sat down and played Star Wars Unlimited with you all day? That's amazing, Trey. That is a great day.
I am not that cruel. I am not that cruel. And that wouldn't be a great day. It was a great day because I did the things that I enjoy that they don't necessarily enjoy, but they would enjoy if they gave them a chance. So we watched Formula One, and then we watched a bunch of Clarkson's Farm and ate some more food. And
Clarkson's Farm. That show is a trip. Are you excited about the F1 movie coming out in a few weeks?
I have to skip every show that I watch because it is a trailer at the beginning of every time I watch a show. It tries to play me a trailer, and me and one of my daughters, who's an F1 fan, we have to skip it every time. I am bouncing off the walls excited.
Okay, because you don't want to spoil anything about it. You're just it's coming.
I mean, I kind of know a little bit of it. I watched the very beginning trailer, so and I know that Brad Pitt made it, and Brad Pitt is a huge Lewis Hamilton fan and a huge Mercedes fan, and he doesn't like my guy, Max Verstappen. And so, like, I'm going to have to go in knowing that this was made by the enemy, but still, it's pretty cool. Like, one of the things, just real quick before we go into this stuff, one of the things that I thought was cool is they brought Lewis Hamilton on as an advisor, and there are, like, certain parts where he would sit and watch what they were doing, and they would be like, no, one of the things he specifically said was, no, at this part of the track at Silverstone, you have the engine noise wrong because you have us in second gear and we're supposed to be, you have us in third gear and we're supposed to be in second gear here at that part of the track. So it's got some attention to detail in it. They did bring on Lewis.
That is incredibly specific detail.
Yeah.
I have a very good friend of mine.
None of that made any sense to me. I had no idea what he just said.
There are such thing as car engines, and they make noise.
So when you turn the key in your car, yeah, exactly. Car engine go brrr, right? So, but it go brrr at different sound levels based on speed and gear and all this sort of thing. I have a really good friend of mine who I've known for like 15 years. She is about as red-blooded American as it comes, right? Football and baseball and all this sort of thing. But I was having dinner with her about a month ago, it feels like now, a month or 3 weeks, something like this. And she was like, I have become the largest Formula One fan. She was
amazing,
fangirling over this movie. She could not wait for it to come out. She's like, I'm going to go see it 7 times on opening weekend. I can't wait. And I'm going, what happened to you? Now, it's funny because as a kid, I was big into IndyCar, right? Like, and I've kind of gotten out. I was. I had a little IndyCar Lego set, right? The little oval with little Lego Indy cars, and I watched the Indy 500 every year. But I've kind of gotten out of it. This was back in when Mario Andretti was big into IndyCar. But I got to say, Formula One has fascinated me. I saw a movie a number of years ago, about 10 years ago now, I guess, since it's been out, called Rush, right? Chris Hemsworth and Daniel Bruhl before anybody knew who he was. Ron Howard movie.
Niki Lauda.
Yeah, Niki Lauda, Hans Zimmer score, brilliant film. And I admit that really piqued my interest about Formula car racing, but I have not really gotten involved in it. So I have to maybe do a little more research. Well, guys, it's been a hot minute. It's been a couple of weeks since we did a podcast, of course, and now that we're take twoing this one, the goal was to kind of look back on the recent PQ that we had here in Houston. Of course, Trey and I did the video duties. And if you're listening to this podcast as it is releasing, like within a few days here of it coming out, you can cut over to my YouTube channel, and all of the individual matches for that PQ should be posting, and the full VOD is available if you really want it. Just remember that YouTube cuts those VODs out at 12 hours, so you'll miss the finals. You'll have to wait for that.
So long.
It was a very long day. You'll have to wait for that one to come out as its own separate video. But Ian did play.
Yeah, I played.
Oh, throwing shade already. He's throwing shade already, Trey.
Well, I mean, I did better than my last PQ. So
that's great. That's actually fantastic.
You're moving up in the world.
I went 3-3-1. I played really bad my last game. I was exhausted. I don't know how anybody can sit there and play 7 rounds of that game in a row.
Imagine 9 at regionals and sectors.
I played terrible that last game, but I had a great time. It was really well run, and I got to play my boy Anthony on the stream. That was really fun.
That was a fun match to call. You guys, y'all are hilarious. And it's funny too because, Anthony, it seems like he always seems to have some kind of control type deck, whether it's like hard control or soft control, some kind of oddball color pairing. Like the last time I had him on stream for a showdown, he was playing. What was it? It was some kind of blue-yellow hero thing that he had thrown together.
I think he had some Fennec thing he threw together.
Fennec, that's what it was, a Fennec blue.
Yeah.
And he was like, man, why'd you put me on stream when I'm playing this goofball deck? I'm like, dude, you built it. What do you want from me, right? And it's hilarious talking to him, right? Because he is the most rabid, anti-net decker guy you will ever hear. Like, he thinks the internet destroyed TCGs. Like, in his world, that is a thing.
That's a fair
back in the
statement.
90s when it started.
Yeah, seriously. No. In his mind, it's 100% still going on. He's like, one guy makes a deck, and then the next week everybody's playing it. Like that's to him, that's the end of the world.
Yeah, he won't play a deck list.
No.
But his decks come close to deck lists. He still uses all those great, he plays a lot of villainy green. So he uses all those great villainy green cards over and over again on you. So
SLT, Overwhelming Barrage, of course.
Devastator is almost in every deck he builds.
I love that card. It's so good because it's just it's playing a Devastator just feels like kicking your opponent in the nuts. It's just like, oh, look what you get to deal with now. Have fun.
Yeah.
So I guess before we get into how the tournament went, we should talk about, since we're already on them, talk about Ian. For those of you who aren't local to us, this is Ian and Anthony, and they have the most fun, friendly rivalry, and they just chirp at each other constantly.
Oh man,
they will sit on opposite sides of the room of a tournament and just yell across the
smack.
room at each other about how they're gonna. I'm only here to beat you, and then I'm going home. And it is, but it's not like being a jerk about it. It's really funny and it's very entertaining. And so I know we talked about that on the stream. I don't know if you mentioned that on the podcast about how the two of them go at each other.
We did, yeah.
We're sitting
there.
Like
a brother. It's like brothers kind of thing.
Big
brother, little brother, right?
Yeah, sibling rivalry.
Yeah.
So when Wes starts casting a tournament, he looks for what he thinks is an interesting deck. And so in round 1, we chose a deck that I think it was a Phasma that we showed in round 1 because
the Phasma Lake Country. Yeah.
And then in the second round, he chose a deck that I've been playing with, Count Dooku and green, I think it was.
Yep.
And so those are the interesting. How are these decks going to do in this tournament? Because they're not really meta decks. And so then in the third round, I don't even remember, we'd chosen something. And we looked at it, and then Wes looks at his phone, and he's got a text from Ian that just says, "Hey, I just got paired up with Anthony. You've got to put us on stream for entertainment value." And we were like, Wes had to go message the judges. Nope, not that, people. We need the Ian and Anthony's game on the stream.
Flag on the play. We're calling an audible, baby.
Oh, so great. Yeah, I mean, it was a fun game to play with him. I talked to him about it yesterday. I decided that I won the first game pretty quick.
Yeah, you ran over him. It was hilarious. He was on
Blue.
He was on Palpatine. Wasn't it Palpatine Colossus or just Palp Blue? Yeah, it was Colossus.
It was
Palp Colossus, and he kept trying to throw Super Laser Blast, but Ian hit all 3 regional governors.
That was amazing.
The regional governor on Super Laser Blast, then Anthony would work like 2 rounds to kill whatever it was he had to do to kill that governor, and then he would hit it, and then he would be ready to throw Super Laser Blast, and then another one hits the table, and then you see Anthony get frustrated, and then kill that one. He hits another, and all the while Ian's just pounding on him with these other dudes. That was how you steamrolled him in that first game.
Oh yeah, for sure. Regional governor in that whole tournament came up when I played it correctly. Came up fantastic. Saved me from some crates. Saved me from getting some Poe ECL, Wrecker ECL at one point. So like it really helped me with a lot of games. It was really, I would say, regional governor and confiscate were the 2 stars of my deck.
Yeah,
that played the best almost every game.
One of the things that I struggle with when I play is I struggle with putting myself in the mind of my opponent to know how the thing that I did messes them up. So like if I'm sitting across from you and you make me discard a card, I can look at my hand and be like, no, it hurts so bad to discard one of these cards that I really want to play. But when I'm in the other person's chair, I'm always like, why would I play this discard card? They're just going to discard cards and they'll have other cards and I'm going to get rid of their worst cards. So things that I play that mess up my opponent intellectually, I know they screw them up and it makes it really hard to play, like regional governor. But I just it's tough for me to put myself in that spot where I actually will play the regional governor or play the hand destruction or whatever it is. So it's tough for me.
Yeah, I mean, same. I definitely had some times, like if you watch the match with Anthony, because I went back and watched it at the 33-minute mark, I go to exhaust 2 resources to play regional governor, and I want to save Vader. I decided to play a little aggressive. I have a Chewie on the board. I attack 5 damage to base. He brings out Vader and a Chewie, and then gets his whatever other unit. I think he might have actually. I think actually he misses on the Vader, which isn't the worst thing.
He did have 1 miss. That might have been it. I remember him missing.
That might have been it. But from that point on, I had lost board control. And if I'm like 99% sure, and I talked to him about this, and he told me if I had said Vader, he had no play. Vader was the only play he had in his hand. Oh,
God. Wrong game. Sorry.
Yeah.
So we didn't actually notice that play quite as well at the time, but we did notice the game start to drag on and on and on. And we started making the observation, like, Ian is not going to win this game. Like every 3 minutes that went by, Ian lost like 2 percentage points to lose this game. And he went from 68% to lose to 70 to lose to 72. And it just ticked by. And we're like, this is not going Ian's way. No. We're going to have to drag Ian aside and teach him, like, there's a point where you just say, I can't do this, and I need the time to play that next game, so I'm just going to pack it in now.
Ian,
which is what we thought at the time.
Yeah, Ian, my good and dear friend, we need to introduce you to the section of the rules where you may concede a game and then move on to the next game in the match, because that's an important skill to have in your skill set.
Agreed.
But it turns out...
going back and watching the match, I should have scooped, right? Because there was opportunities for me to win. But when I was sitting there at the table, I decided that I would rather knock Anthony and I both out of the tournament.
Because they're both at 2 losses at this point.
Yeah, so I won the first game. Anthony, I slow played the heck out of him in the second game to the point where...
Hold on. When you say that, I think you need to, because it is against the rules to slow play.
You need to clarify.
So I don't think the word you want is slow play. I think the word is you drug the game out by continuing to play.
There you go.
I made him kill me.
Yeah, by you did not concede. You refused to concede and forced him to finish the game.
Yes.
Which is not slow play.
That is not slow play.
Slow play is moving your cards slowly, deliberately taking a long time to play the game. Yeah, so just get your terminology right, because I don't want anybody accusing you of cheating.
Yes.
Oh, for sure. No.
Yes.
Sorry, I apologize. I don't know my terminology. But I made him play it out. And I think the 14, 15-minute mark, I tell him, we don't have time for a third game. Because at this point, the game's dragging on. And at that point, I pretty much knew I couldn't win that second game. So I made him play it out. And we speed played a second game. But, I mean, we had 8 minutes to try to play a game that clearly is not going to take 8 minutes. It's
going to take at least 20.
They're both slow decks, yeah.
Yeah, they're both slow decks. I mean, I'm always drawing with Yoda, cycling through my deck. He's literally controlling the board the entire time. I've played that Palp deck of his since set 1, right? So I'm very familiar with the strange and weird things that Anthony puts in there. The deck's designed to just kill every little thing you put on the board early, and then play his big ships. And or his other strategy is he vigilance you to death and just uses
mill you
bounty
out.
The mill you out with the bounty hunter quarries. He'll just keep playing those guys, and then he restocks them, and becomes a real pain.
And there are decks that's a better strategy against in some cases, right? Like you look at like a yellow-green Han or just a double yellow Han that's constantly throwing away cards to extra resources, and then those that all end up with the discard pile. A deck like that is just constantly chewing through cards at a prodigious rate, and it becomes a little. They do you a little favor. In terms of trying to mill them out. The deck that Sam was playing, the Han 4 or whatever, the new Han, never tell me the odds.
Late
country
with
deck.
The C3PO.
Right, but my point is he was drawing so many cards and going through his deck so quickly. He would have been a very, very valid target for I should just be ripping 6 cards off the top of this guy's deck. Never tell me the odds. Literally discards 3 cards off the top of your deck and your opponent's every time you play it. Mm-hmm. You have the possibility of milling yourself for 9 cards in that deck, depending on how often you play that card. And if I come in with 2 or 3 vigilances along the way and then restock and maybe play another one, you're going to be. And he's constantly drawing, like he's going to run out of cards. So yeah.
Well, and I know he plays the Bounty Hunter's Quarry to put it back in his hand. I know he runs 3 of them. Like I know he does. Yeah. Like I've seen him play 3 of them against me and mill my deck out. So. Yeah. It was a lot. It was really fun to play him on stream.
It was fun. Really it was a fun game to cast. That was for sure.
Some of the things that you guys pointed, you guys were laughing hysterical the whole time. But some of the things I don't pay attention to when I play Anthony, we're caught on the stream. Like Trey pointed it out. He'll flip my cards. Just chuck Power the Dark Side at me.
Hang on. Let me clarify that. He's not being a jerk, but he'll play something to kill one of Ian's dudes. He kills one of his units. He plays, I don't know, something. But instead of just saying kill that guy and put his guy, he'll reach over with his card and kind of flip your unit towards your discard pile.
Take this trash off the table.
If you're not friends, it's kind of a dick move. But if you are friends and it's a fun rivalry, then it just adds to the spice.
Yeah. When we got paired up, I couldn't have been happier though. That was really fun to play him like that.
Yeah. That was fun. We had a really interesting top 8, right? We had one of each Han. You had a Han from
that was awesome.
Spark of Rebellion, you had a Han from Shadows of the Galaxy, and then you had a Han from the new Han from JTL, Sam's deck that went all the way to the finals. We had, I think, 2 Kiras, the 3 Hans, 1 Sabine, and I'm forgetting the other 2 off the top of my head. I think we had a Quinlan. I don't remember anymore. I'd have to go back and look. But we had a really nice, interesting, diverse. Kira was the only doubled up leader we had.
Right.
Everybody else was kind of a one-off, and it was a really interesting day. A lot of fun decks to see. Sam's Han Lake Country deck was the star of the stream. Once the stream saw that deck, they were like, "Dude, show us more. This deck is really interesting."
So we did show him once during the Swiss, so people had already seen it once. Mm-hmm. So once he started hitting the table in the top 8, everybody that's all anybody wanted to see.
Yeah, for sure.
I had never seen anyone ever make C3PO the most important card in your deck.
Crazy.
It is an even cost card in a deck that's supposed to be all odd cards, and it did hard work. I mean, work in that game.
It's the beating heart of the draw engine, right? That he builds because he's constantly, which he needs. The way that deck was, the way he was playing it anyway, this particular build, right? He had a lot of kind of low end space units, 1, 2s, and 3 cost stuff.
Ones and 3s, man.
1s and 3s. You're right. 1s and 3s. 1s and 3s. So you're looking at Wolfpack Escort, Cartel Turncoat, all the various Falcon iterations, that sort of thing. And then he had pilots, right? So he had Boshek, he had Ambush Han, which costs 5. He had Mando. Which you don't play Mando for the ground because you're not double yellow. You'd have to overpay. But his pilot, when you play that Mando as a pilot, he's only a one cunning requirement.
And he exhausts something.
He had the little Dagger Squadron pilots. They're little 1 cost, 2/1 guys, and he would play so many cards. But between Boshek and 3PO, he was constantly drawing cards. And it was this fascinating thing to watch because, Trey, you pointed this out when we recorded this the first time, right? You're normally, you reach a point where if you play too many cards, you're just top decking, right? You've played your whole hand out. You started with 4 in your hand. You've played more than 1 card a turn. Now you're to the point where you're just drawing 2 every turn, and maybe you play them both. Maybe you resource 1. but not Sam. In the way that deck was building, he was constantly drawing cards and then playing them out again and just churning through his deck. It was wild.
So the way that, for those of you who aren't familiar with this deck, and I don't know that many people are, the way this works, so it's odd Han, the guy that wants you to be playing odd cards, and then the whole deck is odd cards except for C-3PO. And so I'm going to just the perfect 2 turns for this deck. So when he plays, he has 2 resources up, turn 1. Before anything happens, he activates Han. And in this game, you just do as much as you can. And so Han, this odd Han works is you're going to flip a card up off the top of your deck, and then if it's an odd number, you can attack with a unit. And if that unit has a different odd number that you're attacking with, I think you can attack either way, but if it has a different odd number, then it gets +1. So you flipped up a card, it costs 1, you attack with your 3, and it now deals an extra damage. But the very first thing you do with this odd Han deck, before you don't have any units on the board at all, you just activate it just to flip over that top card. And then you can't attack, but so what? You didn't need to do that anyway. But now you know that the card on top of your deck costs 1. And then you tap 2 resources. You play C-3PO, and which says, name a number, reveal the top card, draw that card. So when played and on attack. And so you play C-3PO, boom, you've just instantly replaced C-3PO. So you're now up a card. So then you go to the second turn. Second turn, you have 3 resources, and you play Fast Falcon. So the one from Spark Rebellion that comes into play untapped. You play that. And then you activate Han, and you do it again. You flip up a card off the top, and you flip up, say, a 1. Now you get to attack for 4 immediately on the second turn. Then you attack with C-3PO, name 1, and you've drawn a second card. So every time that, like, C-3PO is usually just doesn't make decks. But if it makes a deck, it's usually ignorable until they do something like bring R2-D2 online, and then they're kind of doing the shenanigans of attacking with R2 to see the number, and then attacking with C-3PO to draw the card. But usually you can just ignore this crappy 1/4 that's sitting on the board and instead focus on like the Fast Falcon or some other dude that's actually
the real threats.
The real threats. But when you just leave the C-3PO alone and he's drawing an extra card every single turn, it gets out of control really fast, and it totally makes up for the inherent drawback of I played 4 cards on like this one unit and you dealt with it. Boom, you blew up all 4 cards. Now I have no more cards to play, except in this deck, you drew all these extra 4 cards off of it.
If you watch the final, he gets super laser blast and immediately rebuilds his board with like 3 units and 3 pilots.
Yeah.
It was him play like, and the other part that like I think is really interesting about the deck is that it's designed to play last. You don't want initiative. He wants to rebuild and put out all these pilots and play super wide.
He's constantly playing off the button and doesn't care.
It's amazing. He just needs 1 unit left, attacks, and does his little C-3PO thing. And he just did it over and over again. It was really frustrating watching, because I bailed. I was tired. You guys had to do the finals, and I was like, I'm out. I was really frustrating watching it through my phone while I was doing laundry. I'm screaming at balls, open fire the C-3PO, bro. He's drawing 90 cards on you.
So to go back to Trey's point about 3PO, I think the perfect example of this is Game 3 of the semifinals against Baldeep, right? Because in that game, earlier in the match or earlier in that game, I forget which, Baldeep does burn an early open fire to murder this stinking 3PO. But in Game 3, as the game goes on, or somewhere around the mid-game, Sam gets another 3PO on the board. And either right then or shortly after, Baldeep gets out Chewbacca, the Pike's Bane Chewbacca. He smuggles it out, or he plays it out of his hand. I forget. The big guy that comes in with grit, right? Or he's got grit.
Yeah.
He's a 410 with grit and kills something when he hits the board. And so for like the next 4 or 5 turns, the entire ground arena is 3PO and this giant enraged Wookiee who could casually crush him underfoot. And Baldeep just keeps ignoring 3PO. And you just watch every single turn as Sam draws something off of his deck and immediately plays it in space and kicks Baldeep in the teeth with it. And I'm sitting here watching this going, yeah, you're going to give up base damage to kill this stinking droid, but you have to kill it. It's driving his entire deck. This is and we're just like, no, kill it, please kill it. And he just he doesn't do it. It's like, oh man.
The way I always look at card draw is card draw in this game costs 2 resources. So if you're getting it for free, you're putting yourself, in my mind, ahead resources wise. Right. Like that match I played with Anthony, I played Regional Governor turn 1 and said Pershing. Like, no, you are not drawing cards. Like, no.
Well, and it's interesting too, right? Because card draw in this game, card advantage, historically in CCGs, TCGs, having card advantage is a really big deal. But in Star Wars Unlimited, so far, you haven't seen it be as massively impactful, in my opinion. You go back and look
only when you can get it for free. When you can get it for free,
or
it's
cheaply.
Impactful.
You go back.
It's because you're drawing twice as many cards in this game. That's why.
Exactly right.
In other games, in every other game, you draw one card. But go ahead.
Go back and look at set 1. Right when I was learning the game back in set 1, I looked at Cassian Andor, the leader, and thought, this should be a great leader, a great card. Yes, he's competing with Sabine for the red hero slot, but Cassian is a little tougher, a little more powerful. He comes out a little later. He's got Saboteur baked in, but that front side ability, well, he gets to draw cards on either side, but that ability to constantly refill your hand, that should be really good, right? No, it really wasn't that big a deal. And then slowly over time, they've added more ways to draw cards, and some of them have really landed, like Pershing, and some of them really kind of haven't. It just sort of depends.
They have to be good doing whatever else they're doing, or they have to be easy and free to do the card draw.
Up until I saw C-3PO doing all that work, it had only been Pershing in my mind that was a good draw card.
Yeah. But Sam took that deck all the way to the finals. It was super fun to watch, and it was easily one of the most unique things that I've seen come out of deck construction in this set in a while, and it was really cool that he made it all the way to the finals. It was unfortunate that that the finals ended the way that they did. For those of you that didn't see it on watching it live, there was a misplay. Sam had a round where he forgot to pay for his Spark Rebellion, his piece of junk Falcon. You're supposed to pay 1 during the regroup phase to keep it on the board. He forgot to do that. Everybody missed it. His opponent missed it. All the judges missed it. And then we missed it. Some chat noticed it, but I wasn't watching chat. I was watching the game. And it was probably 2 rounds later before one of the judges was like, wait a minute. And then they went, by that point, you've played 2 full rounds. You can't back it up, right? It can't
fix it.
You can't fix it. And so they awarded him a game loss, that was game 3 of the finals. So Trent took it, and go ahead.
I wanted to, that was an unfortunate way for the game to end, but it did not change the outcome of the match.
I don't
Trent
believe
was going to win that game.
I'm fairly confident Trent would have won game 3. But the first game that he lost, 2 things worked against him. One was he'd never seen this deck before, so he was like, what am I playing? And then the other thing was he got run over by a giant Voltron Falcon on like turn 2 or turn 3. And
he couldn't deal with it.
I think the game only lasted 5 turns. Like it was that fast.
He scooped real fast.
No, I don't think he scooped. He just got murdered. This Falcon was swinging for like 9 damage on the 3rd turn of the game, and you're just done at that point. Like, what are you going to do?
But as a testament to Trent, as soon as that second game started, he murdered every C-3PO immediately before he drew a card.
Yes, I was looking at this going. I was like, he figured out very quickly that 3PO was driving this train and was like, die, and he figured that out.
3 cards a turn.
Yeah. And so he did a brilliant job like shifting over. He won game 2 like fairly decisively, and I'm with Trey. I'm fairly confident he would have won game 3. It felt like he had basically just turned the corner when the judges were like, hold on, timeout, what happened here? And then by the time they tried to walk it back, there was just no way. So I think Trent would have won that game anyway. He played brilliantly all day. Both players did. It was a great event.
Give it up to Wu. That's Wu's list.
Which one? Yeah, Trent was playing Kira's Kira list. Yeah, it's a great list.
Yeah,
it's a great list.
Straight up.
It's a great list.
Yeah, it's a good list.
So yeah, great PQ. Other news, right? Literally the day before this PQ, the full Legends of the Force spoiler set, spoiler list, whatever. Every single card was spoiled, dropped onto FFG's website. Their list, their card database. Just one, like at 2:00 in the afternoon, it was just magically populated with like every card in the game, every card in the set. And It was about an hour or 2 later before they made an official announcement about this, which was really odd. Trey, what happened there?
So earlier in the day, that Friday, there was a post on Reddit where somebody said, hey guys, I was at a store in Minneapolis, and somebody knows all the cards already. And then this exists, or this white Anakin exists, and this other card. He didn't have like the specific details of every single card, but he named a couple of key characteristics of unspoiled cards, color, what it did generally type thing. And people were like, oh, okay. And then it turned out that as the Friday spoilers started rolling out, a lot of those were on the list of what this person had said. And so what it turns out had happened was somebody who had access to the final text of all of the cards in the set had gotten access from somebody. Well, somebody had access to all the final text of all the cards in the set, and they had been either unknowingly or knowingly provided it to some team of people that plays competitive. You have a group of people that get together and they test, they try to build decks. And this is not something that you want to happen if you have a game, especially with the timing of the next set. Because if we have 6 people sitting around and we want to try and build decks and brainstorm and come up with every single, whatever the best deck is, if we can get a jump and have 6 weeks of testing in before anybody else actually has the cards, and then there's a tournament like 2 or 3 weeks later that is the World Championship, whatever they call it, but the World Championships of the game, there is a strong possibility that we are going to be much better prepared than anybody else. And that's what happened. And so FFG, we've given them a lot of credit for some of their decisions. And this is another one that they did correctly, where they recognized this was an issue. They couldn't fix the whole thing and go back and take this information out of these people's brains, or they couldn't unrub the genie lamp or put the genie back in the bottle.
Can't put the genie back in the bottle.
They decided everybody gets a genie as of now. And so somebody has had the cards and has been testing, but hopefully with this makeup time that other people will be able to at least catch up. It'll be diminishing returns for the extra time that whoever this group has had with it. And I think this highlights an issue with their playtesting. Like for all of did anybody want to contribute before I launch into their Mickey Mouse playtesting?
Well, we'll come.
Yeah, it sounds like somebody broke an NDA is what it sounds like.
Well, yeah. So you were talking about, Trey, you were saying it was like the Friday before. I had heard this rumor almost immediately after Indianapolis. Minneapolis, right? The Minneapolis regional was about 2 or 3 weeks ago now. Right after everybody started getting home from Indianapolis, I heard rumors circulating that the full spoiler was in the hands of at least one competitive team. I don't know which, and I'm not going to point fingers because I have no idea. But I only know when this stuff started becoming public that this is what happened. So I had heard about this, and clearly several people had been kind of flagging this to FFG, like, guys, this is a problem. You're going to have serious competitive compromise.
Imbalance.
You're risking the competitive integrity of your first world championships if you don't address this. And like you said,
maybe last one too. If it goes that bad.
But it's like you said, you can't put the genie back in the bottle. Once somebody has the list, and that is an NDA break. So I really do hope they go after whoever they can track down and slap these people around a little bit, because I
don't think it's an NDA break of a playtester. I think it's an NDA break of somebody that works in the company, because playtesters do not get the full text of the final cards. So in order to have that text, like when you're a playtester, you get all the cards, you get them like written in paper with no art, and they have the playtesting text, and then you provide feedback. You might get a revision every once in a while.
Yeah, you might never actually see the final version of the card.
Yeah, you're nobody's going to send you a document that says, okay, here are all the real cards.
Here's
this is what they are. So,
yeah.
So it has to come from somebody who had access to that, which is not your typical playtester.
However we got there, everybody who handles this information, whether they're an employee or not, is under some form of legal NDA that they've signed, right? And I just hope that that FFG takes some kind of action. I'm not saying lock them in jail or fine them or whatever, but like they've got to do something to enforce their own NDAs, or they're not worth the paper they're printed on. That's my concern. So
I mean, this is not nuclear codes and nobody's going to war, but this is very important to some people, and it's very important to the people that give FFG money.
It should be very important to FFG to protect their intellectual property until they are ready to release it themselves, and not at somebody else's whim. Personally, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Now, we're about to change topics, and I want to say that ever since Trey, and we talked about this on the Unfinished podcast.
The Unfinished version.
Ever since Trey has told me about how they play test this game and how those people are allowed to play in tournaments also, I don't know, has not sat with me very well. So when he explains this, I hope it sits with other people better than it sat with me. I really,
all right.
I've been stewing on it for a couple of days. Like, it's just like it makes no sense to me how they could.
So So with all that
play like that. So, but go ahead, Trey.
I was saying, with all that said, Trey, go ahead and give us your rant on how they do playtesting, and then I'm going to jump in. Go ahead.
So if you want to be a playtester for Fantasy Flight games, not Star Wars Unlimited, just playtest any of their games. Anybody can be a playtester. It's a volunteer position, and you apply for it. And you send in your little form, and you send it to whatever email address they have, and they may or may not accept you. And then they will assign you the games that they want to assign. And then you can playtest those things. If you're a SWU player and you get assigned to SWU, that's wonderful for you, but you get to playtest them. This company makes a lot of money, and this company is built on basically this game at this point. They have other games. FFG makes other games, but nothing they do is as big as this game. And so this entire game is built on the backs of free labor. That it's these cards are left to the whim of what volunteers, the time they can put in, the effort they can put in, whether they're devoted or not. Maybe they found some secret combination and they want to hide it, and like hopefully this comes out in the final game and I'll get to use it. And like you're risking nobody has a financial. You're risking a lot by putting all of the playtesting under your game. Yeah, on the integrity of your playtesting. And for the big companies, I don't know. Whoever makes Pokemon, I don't know who that is. I'm sure everybody's going to scream at me at what it is. But those people, I don't know who that is. I don't know about Lorcana, which is another big one. But I do know that Wizards of the Coast, which is the granddaddy, they have people whose job it is to get up in the morning, go to work, play test all the new cards, give feedback. This is overpowered. This needs to be souped up so that we can make it more competitive. I'd like to play this, but it doesn't work in this. It's not I don't think it's a lot of people, but it is a team. It's a team of people whose job it is to play test this game. And then they put it down and they go home. They may not even play the game for real, but that's their job that they get paid a salary to do. And it's not, if you get 6 people who making $40,000 a year to do this,
I would have said
$250,000.
A team of 6 or 8 could handle that probably pretty effectively.
Could handle the three sets a year, and it's their job to play test this game 8 hours a day. Like that seems like a small price to pay to behave like a professional. Yeah, I know. And for your company to behave like a professional company that does this for money, instead of we started as a small group making games, and we got people to help us make our games by playtesting, and we just have never rectified that. But the downside of this, which is the thing that stuck with Ian, go ahead.
Those playtesters, are they allowed to play in tournaments?
Yes, they are allowed. And I will say I was a playtester. I did not play. At the time I played Destiny. I am not a SWU playtester. I cannot speak for exactly what the way it's done now. I do know that it's still volunteer. I know that people that playtest are allowed do play in tournaments. I don't know if they go to big tournaments or not, but I know that they're allowed to play in tournaments. So I think I playtested like one set of Keyforge, anyway, and a couple of board games. Anyway, but yes, these people that get these cards that may or may not be the final version of the card, they get to play test them all. And whoever play tested Jump to Lightspeed, they did it a year ago, 18 months ago,
probably
something
18
like
months.
that.
Yeah, there's a long
probably 18 months ago.
Very large lag.
And they've since moved on and play tested other things, but they had time with all these cards, and those people are allowed to jump in and compete with the rest of us mortals who only saw the cards in March. Again, in tournaments for stakes. So that's another thing. Like your team of 6 people have to be willing to not you can do this. You get to see all the cards. You get to work in Willy Wonka's chocolate factory, but you don't get to go out and open and try to get a golden ticket. So I don't know. I feel strongly about that one.
I can tell, and it's interesting to me because when I have been a playtester not for anything FFG has ever done. My playtesting experience is all much older than that. I was a playtester for Decipher 30-ish years ago, back when I was in college, for the old Star Wars CCG, and then later on for their Lord of the Rings TCG. And it worked exactly like you're describing, right? Like in that era, we would get a little email. They probably do it by digitally now. They probably email them out now. In that era, though, I literally got a hard copy of cards to playtest. I still have some of my old Star Wars CCG playtest packets around. And you just play tested and you would write them feedback. That was done by email in that era in the late 90s. And then you moved on. There was a time one Lord of the Rings set, because I lived in Virginia and Decipher was based in Norfolk, we went down for a playtest weekend. So we drove 3 hours down to Norfolk. We stayed in a hotel near Decipher HQ, and I think all day, like 8-9 hours Saturday, we went in and we play tested whatever set they were working on there in their building with their design team. That was a lot of fun. But it's exactly like you described. Like, it's all volunteer. I think we might have gotten a box of cards or 2 boxes of cards shipped to us along the way as a nice thank you or something. But it wasn't like you were getting paid. It was not a job.
FFG playtesters get a credit in the Fantasy Flight store,
the company store.
Asmodee store.
That's right. Good idea.
Company store. And when you did it, like, TCGs were like 3 or 4 years old at the time. Every company was brand new. Every company was run on a shoestring. Everybody, like, this is just the only way to get it done in any sort of financially viable situation was to rely on people that loved your game to help out.
Yeah.
But it's 30 years later.
Life has changed.
These companies have been around. There's money involved.
I think it's interesting to me, that the point that kind of sours Ian so much is one that has never even occurred to me. Talking about the being able to compete in tournaments, right? Because having done this, I know exactly what it's like to have seen the early playtest version of the card, messed around with it, sent feedback in, and then 6 months later, the card that is physically put out into your hand doesn't look anything like what you playtested. Like, it's.
Yeah, but
I understand your
having
gripe.
knowledge
I'm not disagreeing
of,
with you.
How about just having knowledge of, like, basic keywords? They introduce new keywords every set. Set comes out, you already understand how to play hidden keywords. You already understand how to play smuggle keywords. Like, it's the advantage it gives you. Like, I understand, like, they're volunteers and they're putting in their own time, and I understand that. But they should not be allowed to play in a tournament where stakes are on the line. That just seems really, I don't know. Doesn't rub me the right way.
I'm not saying I disagree with your opinion at all. I think I do agree with you. I just know that when I was doing it way back in the day, there was almost no way to translate the information that you were getting from a playtest session for a set that was 6 to 8 months from release that you wouldn't see again until it was literally in print, to an actual competitive advantage. Because the stuff that you tested, sometimes the stuff that the mechanics we were testing never even made it to the set. We were literally just testing something because they wanted to try it. You're a game designer, like, you try things. And in the end, that mechanic, you give them a bunch of feedback on the mechanic, and they decide 2 months after or 2 weeks later, you know what, this is trash. We're throwing it in the garbage. We're going to go in a completely different direction, and we don't have time to go back to the playtesters, so we're going to finish all this stuff up in-house. Like, who knows? I'm just saying that has happened before. So it probably feels to you like worse than it really is in some instances, but I'm sure. I agree with you that it does. The fact, it's more about the optics of it, right? To me, it's all about
icky.
It feels bad. It looks bad from the outside, right?
Trey said TCGs have been around 30 years. Well, I've only been playing one really for like a year and a half. So I'm new, so it seems really off. It's off-putting to me. And, like, not only that, like, the card set leak, I mean, kind of feels the same way. Like, was it leaked to them? Or did they, like, I don't know. Just comes off a little strange. All of it just strange to me.
For my money, the leak is a far bigger problem that you have to solve and make sure.
For sure.
And again, I'm like, you've got to do something to correct this behavior so it does not occur again, because that is a much bigger problem. You can't have this happen in every set. It's ridiculous. And I'll admit, we're 5. This is the 5th. Will be the 5th set of the game. To my knowledge, this hasn't happened previously, so that's a good thing.
That's true.
That's a good thing, but it does mean that they've got something that needs fixing, and they need to get it fixed before we get too far down the road.
One of the things I dislike is when companies not sweep this under. I mean, they may find who it is. They may fire the person. They're
not going to tell us.
They're not going to tell us, and I find that off-putting because we haven't heard about this happening, but have we not heard about it happening because it didn't happen? Like, transparency is the thing that I think would.
It clearly happened. They dropped the whole set. There's like 100 cards left to premiere. I'm sure they had people set up to like.
Yeah, they did.
Preview them. Like, they did. So they got to pull it back from content creators. Like,
they've got to walk all of that back.
I'm sure. Yeah, 100%.
I'm of two minds on this one, Trey, because I lost my thought. But
sorry
about the need for I think I am a big fan of transparency in general, and sunlight being the best disinfectant. but
I got it back. So
lawyers don't feel that way.
Fair enough. In my other quote unquote streaming career, right? I play World of Warships. I played a lot of World of Warships over the last 10 years. And one of the constant communications, feedback, complaint, whatever phrase you want to throw at it, we have for the company that develops that game, a company called Wargaming. We always tell Wargaming, whenever there's a lot of times that we, the players, will see bad behavior in a game, whether it's game behavior or like people saying inappropriate things in chat, right? We will then, people will file a support ticket, with a game replay and report this person for whatever the bad behavior they observed is. At that point, Wargaming and their customer service people will take action or won't, whatever. We will never know the results of whatever that is, partly because the way the privacy laws are written in certain parts of the world, you're not allowed to know. And I think more at a corporate level, you don't want to air your dirty laundry, right? Like let's throw a hypothetical out there. Let's go with your assumption that somebody within the company either accidentally or deliberately leaked this information, okay? As a company, you want to handle that behind closed doors. The only announcement that I would, if from the outside looking in, I would be like, I would want to hear them say, we found the source, we addressed the issue, we feel confident this won't happen again. I could live with that. But they're not going to give you. You're never going to get any more detail than that out of them, because their HR people will not allow it. You're risking libel lawsuits and all kinds of a mess. It'll be a disaster. You're muted, Trey. You're still muted, buddy.
You don't have to provide details, but you do. It's if you break trust and you don't build trust if you don't say something. Hey, this happened, and we've addressed it, and that person doesn't work here anymore, and we're going to do everything I can. We see how it happened. We're going to do everything we can to make sure this doesn't happen in the future. And if it happens in the future, we'll figure out why that happened. We'll let you guys know, and we'll take care of it then.
I would be
that level.
I would be satisfied with we solved it. It's not going to happen again. Move on.
Companies are like the CIA, man. You're not going to find out anything.
They're not going to they're going to voluntarily tell you as little as they possibly can. But I agree that it would be nice to hear them say something. Now, with all of that conversation have you guys looked at the spoiler list? What now that we've seen the full set? No. What has anything jumped out at you? A couple of cards that you're like, oh, that looks really awesome that you hadn't that caught your eye. Ian?
So I'm building my Grand Inquisitor deck right now.
The next set. Okay, you're talking about set one.
No, Old Inquisitor.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep playing him until he's out of rotation.
Okay.
I thought for Worlds I wanted to build something that was fast and furious.
Okay.
So that I could get in and get out, win tickets or lose tickets, right? You know me, I love to gamble.
Oh yeah.
So a couple of cards that I'm definitely adding for sure that I have in there is I like Aura Singh. She's a cunning villainy card.
They had already
4-hit.
That one had already been
spoiled them?
She had been spoiled, yeah.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
A weird common one, Thralls of Coven, I thought was really good.
Okay.
It's a 5-cost aggression villainy card, 3/7 raid 3.
With raid 3, so Grand Inquisitor loves that card.
Yeah, that's a really good one. No, I think they spoiled that one already. Oh, and Strike Ship, I really like 0/3.
The Nihil Strike Ship.
Raid 3 with 0/3 with raid 3 and Overwhelm.
Yep.
Really great. A really good start card for me. So I was really digging those.
Okay. Trey, anything leap out at you?
So I've glanced at it briefly for like the whole set. I haven't spent a lot of time looking at it, but I didn't really see anything that made me super excited. The card that I am most excited about had already been spoiled. It was Avar Chris. And so I think so much of this set is about use the Force, or if you have the Force, and just being able to just be like,
I feel
I'm
like
not spending the 2 damage. I just have the Force at all times.
I feel like I just
seems like a great way to do it.
I don't disagree.
Are you down on Dune? I know you were really excited for Dune.
No, I'm not. It's a fun card. It looks like a fun and exciting card, but I'm not looking. It'll be one that I include in a deck that can use Doom, but the one that I want to build around is Avar Chris.
Okay. Because it was, let's see, we got 4 leaders spoiled right there at the very end. They spoiled Kylo. We have a vigilance villain Kylo. We have was Rey. Mm-hmm. We had the aggression hero Rey, and then they spoiled. It was the hero only Anakin, and then I think it was I think Barriss Ophi was the last one. She was the cunning villain leader. If I believe that was the last one to get spoiled. Those 4 were the last leaders to get spoiled.
I think so.
The Kylo really piqued my interest. I like kind of his mechanics. I like the way he works. From a card perspective, I was super excited to see the Praetorian Guard. You guys know me. I'm a Phasma enjoyer, and another First Order unit, especially one that's a ground sentinel that can come in and be around and stand between my Phasma and things that want to kill her, made me very happy. I'm trying to think what else as I look through this list. The new Yoda. Did you guys see this new Yoda in Green Hero? This thing is a massive bomb. This should. I couldn't believe. So, Ian, for your Yoda deck, there are 2 cards in Hero Green you need to check out. One is straight up Yoda's lightsaber, good card, a 3/1, 2-cost Green Hero lightsaber. But the other one is
8.
No, I'm talking about the lightsaber. The Yoda,
I'm talking about the lightsaber. Okay.
The Yoda unit is an 8-cost 5/9 bomb, right? Because when you play him, you can use the Force, and when you do, you get just free. I feel like healing 5 off my base, and then anytime from then on, while he's on the board, anytime you use the Force, he acts like he deals damage equal to the number of units that you have, or twice the number of units you have on the board. He just throws damage around. He's crazy good. The Green Hero stuff in this set is absolutely just bomb cards. Eth Koth being able to ramp. Keller and Beck basically having kind of like a little built-in home one for the ground sort of thing. The Green Hero is going to be a legit force after this set. It's going to be fun to watch.
I mean, it definitely it needed it. It needs more top end.
I kind of don't disagree with you.
Fizzles out after home one and like Luke right now. They're playing those color combinations.
I think if there was anything else that leapt out at me, those are the couple things that I kind of noted. Oh, I did finally go through and look at all the lightsabers now, right? So there's basically at least one lightsaber available in every aspect pairing, right? You have like Cunning Hero is Qui-Gon, Cunning Vigilance, Cunning Villain has this corrupted lightsaber, and so on. So there's a bunch of lightsabers in this set, which will be real interesting to watch. So yeah, this is going to be fun. I'm looking forward to drafting. I'm looking forward to playtest time. I mean, not playtest time, pre-release time. I'm looking forward to being able to play some sealed and draft of this in Vegas. It's going to be good times. It's going to be neat.
I'm not going to have a lot of cards in my hand when we get to Vegas, so I will be playing a lot of sealed and draft.
That's okay. Bring it on. They will be happy to take your money, my friend. Believe me.
Yeah, for sure.
Believe me.
For sure. I actually wanted to get your guys' opinion on the Anakin hero that was spoiled. Hold on. You could play a deck that has U-Wing reinforcement and overwhelming barrage in it.
Well, it's even more than that, right? Because the way he's worded, if the card is a villain card, you just ignore all the aspect penalties. So you could be, let's just say you're playing Anakin Blue, you could put overwhelming.
Has to be an event, though, right?
It has to be a non-unit. It could be an upgrade.
Yeah.
Okay. But the point is that if you're playing, again, let's just say Anakin Blue, you wanted to play Vader's lightsaber. You can play the entire card with no aspect penalty because it's a villain card. You ignore both aspects.
I think it's really interestingly flavorful. I think it's really well done from a flavor perspective, and it should be. One of the problems with using a single aspect leader like that is that you now don't have the ability to play like you lose an aspect, which is a big deal. And so I think it's an interesting and unique way to play. I'm just going to every non hero thing or every non-unit is going to be black instead of the color that it is. I think that's pretty cool. I'm one of my big concerns about this set is how do you get the Force? Am I going to be able to reliably get the Force? So I'm going to reserve judgment on everything that says use the Force or have the Force until I figure out how difficult it is to get the Force and am I going to have to go 2 damage less every time I want to use the Force just to have that base, have a 28-point base? Or is there a more reliable way to get it?
All the rare bases, the 25 health bases, have you do something to get the Force, if I remember correctly.
That's how it works. Yes.
Yeah.
But in a world where Data Vault is king, like that's 8 damage. Is the Force worth 8 damage? Oh no, we'll see.
Oh,
yeah.
I mean, we'll find out.
The other thing is that, first of all, Trey, I'm kind of with you on this one, right? Like I'm reserving a little bit of judgment. When you go and you watch some of the streams that the FFG guys have done on their YouTube channel with these mechanics, it it doesn't look like it's going to be that challenging to pick it up, right? When you watch them play with these cards, it seems very straightforward. With that said, it almost feels like if you want to lean on it, you're going to have to play with that 28-point base. There are a handful of leaders, to use your example, Avar Chris, who doesn't necessarily really care. She doesn't need the base. She can just say, I feel like having a force token. Bam, here it is. And there's other green cards that support those mechanics. There's a green card that literally says, like, play it. Congratulations, you have the force, right? So, like, maybe Avar Chris Data Vault is a thing. Maybe you go double green hero. I don't know. I'm speculating. But the point is that there are going to be leaders out there that can still take advantage of it without necessarily having to use these bases.
Yeah. We'll see. Looking forward to it.
I'm looking forward to trying out. It's going to be interesting.
You guys sign up for pre-release at Dragon's Lair yet?
I have.
I have.
Yeah, I'm signed up.
Awesome.
Nice.
Looking forward to more pre-releases. It's gonna be a good holiday weekend here in town. You guys wanted to talk about some Twin Suns you played last week. I wasn't there on Tuesday night after the PQ. I was busy.
And if you were,
dealing
you
with
would have been right in. You would have been right in Twin Suns with us, right?
Yeah, totally.
You had made it.
No. Let me explain to you. I think my next Twin Suns experience is going to be in Vegas after I've had about 5 drinks and I'm ready to tackle it. That's probably my next Twin Suns experience. But tell me, you guys want to do
anger control.
Yes,
your anger control is an all-time high.
When I'm already mellow enough that I literally don't care, I'll be ready. I'll be ready to play some Twin Suns. But you guys had some fun.
Pretty standard. Yeah, pretty standard games for me. I didn't win, but caused a lot of chaos. So that's kind of what I love to do in Twin Suns, I guess.
How many games did you guys let Trey win because he just sat over there and did his thing?
We got 3 games in. We got 3 games.
He won one game.
We got 3 games in, and Katie won the first one.
Okay.
And I won the second one.
Wait a minute. She won a constructed thing? She must have been super excited.
She won it. So, and then she won the third one. So I am in agony. I have agonized over this. I realized it immediately after the game ended. I made a decision because I didn't read the card Bindu that she played. I didn't realize it had Sentinel. And so when I flipped Jabba the Hutt, I didn't capture her Sentinel guy. And this was on the turn that everything had died, or that somebody had died. So this is the last turn of the game. And I was set up to, like, if I had captured her Bindu, which had Sentinel, the other remaining player, Damien, would have attacked her instead of me, and then I would have been able to pull out a win, and I would have won too. Now it's mitigated because I think it's cool that Katie wins because she doesn't get to win all that much, and so I'm fine with that. But I'm just, when I didn't even realize it at the moment it happened. It was a little while later, or it was a short while later that I realized that it had happened, that I could have done something about it. And it is such agony to sit there and stew in your own mistake that cost you a win. And I'm just.
You should be used to that by now, Trey. We've all done it, but you seem to agonize over it longer than anybody else that I know, anyway.
Well, yeah, because I have to get better. I'm not allowed to make mistakes. That's dumb. Other people can make mistakes because they're weak humans, but I should be perfect.
Wow.
Going forward, if I sit down with a game for Twin Suns with Trey, I'm going to tell every other player, if Trey's telling you to do it, it's for his benefit.
Yeah, that's true.
So
that's true.
I meant to go read that article, but it's actually not. That's not my strategy. I don't tell people things that only benefit me. No, I will tell what I do. My strategy. One, I want everybody to come in second. But
ladies and gentlemen,
is for your benefit.
Ladies and gentlemen, the defense rests. The defense rests.
No. Here we go.
The evidence is
Here's
right
the thing. I play with a lot of people who don't see every potential move, and what I do
clearly neither do you.
I see most. Well, okay, jerk.
No. You don't point out every move, and I proved it when you said you could kill. Well, you said to Katie you could kill X and Y, and I was like, no, you can kill X, Y, Z, and A. Like, you're missing Z and A.
That is absolutely not true, because that's my thing. That's why people will listen to me, is because I will say, you can attack my guy and he does this, or you can attack that guy and that's what'll happen there, or you can attack Ian's guy and that's what'll happen there. So I just want everybody to have full knowledge, because I tend to win when people make rational choices. Because I try to massage my end of the game so that if everybody makes rational choices, I will win. You can appreciate that, Wes. If everybody makes rational choices, so you should
never have told me that, Trey. You should never have told me that, because now I know how to beat you.
Make your rational choices.
Make your rational decisions.
Yeah, that's fine. Then I won't win those, but you won't either, and you can't handle not winning. Nah, you can't handle
please,
that.
I can handle not winning. I've been doing that for years.
If you sit down at a Twin Suns game with me and you want rationale, you're playing the wrong person. Like,
see, that's the thing. I can put you in a box and know that you're just a box of chaos, and so randomness will come out, and I can point out all the things, and I can use that against you because I'll just say, Ian's going to just throw chaos into this, so he needs to be ganged up on because otherwise all your stuff all your plans are going to come to naught because Ian's going to throw a grenade. And then people listen to that because I tell people everything. So you read that article that they did, and you said, this is, they talked about Trey's strategy of pointing out things to other people that are only beneficial to you and other stuff. That is not what I do. I point out everything.
Because you'll say things like, you could do this, this, and this, but I would do this. That's telling them what you want them to do, dude.
I do point out everything that they can do. So, and if I say this is what I would do, it's what I would do in your circumstances to further your own goals.
Here's my question, Trey. Why are you trying to play Why are you trying to play their game for them? Is that just how you win? Manipulate them by playing the game for them?
I just told you because they don't see it and they make choices without full information, and they tend to make choices that are bad for them and bad for me. If I can get them to make choices with their full knowledge, if I can make sure they have full knowledge and they're making a rational choice. I mean, it's up to them to make the rational choice. Sometimes they don't. Sometimes they attack me when it's not in their best interest because Ian is over there lobbing logic grenades that don't make anything. This is Ian lobbing grenades, by the way. Everything Ian is saying right now is geared at the people that play Twin Suns with us, and that is trying to turn them against me. That is
I'm not trying to turn them against you.
This is amazing.
You're trying. You guys. This is his. No, you're trying. This is chaos. This is you throwing chaos grenades. Right
What's amazing, ladies and gentlemen, is that right here on this podcast, you are watching Trey and Ian play Twin Suns right now, right here on this podcast. They are gearing up. They are trying to prep people for their next game right now. It's impressive.
I will say,
the article is fantastic. It talks about how this is part of the strategy.
No, it 100% is.
Trey is very successful in Twin Suns, and Ian is normally the first person knocked out, right? Because I'm going to be like, I'm attacking Katie base for 7 for no reason other than I feel like doing 7 damage, right? Like,
that makes Katie attack you.
Bingo.
So, and that makes Katie attack you. And I will point out that, Ian is the one that attacked your base, and then you attacked her, she attacked you, you attacked somebody else, they attacked you. Now you're the one that's about to die, and I've just been sitting over here building my stuff, and I didn't have to make anybody do anything I wanted because you threw a grenade. Anyway, that's enough of that. I do want to talk about there's some other stuff that I find interesting about Twin Suns that I've been coming across.
Bring it on.
Building Twin Suns decks has been an exercise of adaptation for me because I don't really play all that much Commander and Magic. I have played it before. I have some really nice decks that I play Commander with, but when I came to Twin Suns, it was Twin Suns is the SWU version of Commander. And so I have started out building all my decks in the concept of I'm just building a Commander deck for SWU. But the rules we've already talked about this before, they changed several of the rules. The games are shorter. Different things happen. Mostly it's the games are shorter thing. As to how to play, and that affects deck construction because when you play Twin Suns, games rarely go beyond the 6 or 7 resource turn.
6 resources seems to be about it.
You play Premier, and you can sit out there and have 15 resources in front of you because you've been playing the game so long. That will never happen in Twin Suns. And so if you think of Twin Suns as a Commander thing, you start looking at the 8s and the 9s and the 10s and the 12s that are going to flip everything, all of your resources over, that type of stuff. That stuff's never going to get played. So decks actually have to be more focused at the lower end, and that switching over to that mode of thinking has been an interesting journey for me.
You want to play multiple actions and cards each round. It's hard when you're just playing one item. My Boba deck the Boba Kira deck I plays terrible if I'm playing one unit each phase. If that's my best play, that's really troublesome for me in that game.
The other thing that I've noticed, the couple of games that I've played, looking over people's shoulders and whatnot, is that cards that come into play either with sentinels as a sentinel or with shields are worth gold in Twin Suns, right? Because that unit will hang around the board longer or absorb somebody beating in, not absorb damage that would otherwise go to your base.
Yeah, Sentinel is much is much stronger in Twin Suns
Yeah.
than it is in Premier, because when it's Premier and it's just me against you and I play Sentinel, you just have to go through that to win the game.
Yeah.
But when we're in Twin Suns and I play Sentinel, the biggest reason why Sentinel is so good in Twin Suns is I'll play Sentinel. Ian doesn't have a Sentinel, and you don't want to throw your attack away just knocking out my Sentinel guys.
Exactly
So
right.
you go hit Ian. That's
right.
Just as a deterrent to
It's
send
a
your
deterrent.
opponents after somebody else is what it is.
The deterrent is pretty meaningful. Yeah, exactly. Now, let's combine the last two topics briefly. Having seen the spoiler list for Legends of the Force, knowing you're going to want to build Twin Suns decks for Vegas, Ian, has anything on that list struck you for Twin Suns? And the answer could be no. I'm just curious.
I'm not there yet. I'm still working on the Grand Inquisitor, but Twin Suns is coming up soon.
GI definitely gets some really good units out of this set. That's going to be interesting. I'm curious to see where you land with that one.
Should be fun.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm definitely going to have to look into some space wizardy shenanigans for a Twin Suns deck for Vegas, because I got an Imperial deck, and there'll be a handful of Imperial units out of this new set that I'll fold in, but definitely going to have to go look at some shenanigans for Space Wizards.
I don't think this set is going to have much of an impact on Twin Suns, because base health is so incredibly important, and so much of this set is force, and nobody's going to want to play a 28 health base to get the force reliably.
Yeah, but you're thinking in a different direction. Not every leader in the set is based on force mechanics in one way or the other. I'm just saying, as a whole, the set I don't think is going to have that much of an impact on. The themes of the set are not going to have that much of an impact. There will be some, but just as a whole, I don't think this will have as much of an impact as something else. The themes may not, but I believe there will be leaders in this set that get played in Twin Suns, right? And
a third sister is a leader I thought about putting in Twin Suns.
I could
she
see
gives
that.
Units hidden.
Well,
and Trey's always given him Sentinel with Chewbacca. Nice to give him hidden.
I think. Hang on a minute. I was just looking at. Is it Maul? Where's Maul? Maul requires Maul uses your force token. That's true. I think Revan is kind of interesting. I think Revan and Anakin both have slightly interesting mechanics in Twin Suns because of the way that you get access to an additional aspect, right? You have your villain leader, a other leader, and then your base, right? So that could be interesting.
If Anakin didn't use the Force, he would be huge in Twin Suns.
That's true. He does.
I think
Revan does not.
Will be good.
Yeah, Revan does not. GI does. I'm trying to think who else. Not every leader does. Kit Fisto. I mean, if memory serves, doesn't his flip side? What's his flip side? For each other, he only cares about friendly Jedi units, so that doesn't work.
Friendly Jedi, not Force, but Jedi.
Yeah, friendly Jedi. I was wondering if he counted Jedi on the board. He doesn't. It's only friendly Jedi. That's not the same. Let's see. Yeah, Obi requires you to use the Force. Yeah, that might be it.
Snoke will be interesting.
Snoke actually might be.
Gives experience tokens.
Excuse me. Snoke
There'll be some. There will be some.
I could see Snoke being splashed in because I think he's solid. So yeah, it'll be fun to see. I'm looking forward to Vegas, but we'll talk more about that in a future episode. You guys got anything else you want to hit? Should we call it a night?
I'm fine calling it a night. Ian?
How was Metallica?
Oh well, yeah. What are people doing? What do you guys do? Do you want to just launch into Metallica? Because that was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tell me about Metallica.
I got to see, but for those of you who don't know, Metallica's doing a world tour right now for their new album, 72 Seasons. I bought tickets back in the fall for me and my wife, and a couple other friends went with us. And Ian has been incredibly jealous the whole time because he had a bunch of truck issues with his wife and his truck, his truck and his wife's truck, and so there was no money to buy after. Apparently, they went up in cost, like they're more than face value now, which I thought that was kind of interesting. So he's been just jealously listening to me talk about how I'm going for weeks now, talk about how I'm going to see Metallica. So anyway, I went and saw Metallica live at Energy, which is where the Houston Texans play. It was really good. It was not the most epic concert I've ever been to, but it was nowhere near the worst one I've been to. Had a good time. We had decent seats, so I wasn't on the floor, which it is just a completely different experience when if you can stand like right in front of the band and like jam along with them. It's a different experience doing that versus sitting back in the stands of a stadium where you're like kind of listening to the music. I don't know. They put on a great show. I mean, there's 61-ish, And so they're a lot of fun. One of the things, and this is only going to matter to Metallica people, this is something that struck me not too long ago. If you know anything about Metallica, you know it's the same three guys, and their bassist has changed several times. So their first bassist, Cliff Burton, was at the band for a few years. He died in a car wreck. Then they hired another guy named Jason Newsted, and I think 89 or 90, which is when I became a fan of Metallica in 89 or 90. And then in 2001, 2002, they had a falling out. So Jason was always my bassist. In 2001 or 2002, they had a falling out, and Jason left the band, and they hired this new guy who, to me, is the new bassist of Metallica, because Jason Newsted is my bassist guy.
That's been like 25 years, man.
Old. Yeah, I know. That's the revelation of this guy has been the bassist of Metallica for longer than the other two guys combined, significantly longer than the other two guys combined. And so he's just kind of the real bassist of Metallica, but I still think of him as the new guy because he's not Jason. So just if you're younger than us, just that's weird as you get old, because time doesn't really go faster. You just have memories that go back farther, and you can kind of skip over the intervening years. And that's why it feels like time goes faster, because I vividly remember when And Justice for All came out. 30 years ago, 40 years ago, whatever it was.
Sounds like about 30.
So anyway, I had a good time at Metallica.
Yeah. Okay, good.
89, I think.
Okay. What about you, Ian? What you been up to lately outside of the SWU world?
Not going to Metallica, huh?
Not going to Metallica. Poor bastard.
I tried really hard to win tickets. I ended up winning Offspring tickets, not Metallica tickets. Well, so I do have Offspring to work for. No, I'm excited. Okay. I've just been working and fixing trucks.
That's right. You had a lot of car problems last week.
Yeah, I had a truck get a window smashed in, and then on the way to pick it up from it getting fixed, my other car died.
Yeah.
Not a fun week.
Yeah.
Not a fun week.
No, I haven't had a whole lot going on outside of SWU, because we got done with the Houston PQ, and then I went home and took some time, and then literally I drove back from the Austin PQ just a few hours ago, like this afternoon. We got back home.
Wow.
So yeah.
Who won that one?
That one was won by a gentleman named Joel from up in Dallas. He was it was another green blue villain. He was playing Iden Datavolt, Iden Versio Datavolt.
Oh, nice.
But this was hard control. Like triples of every possible unit removal card you can think of. At least 2 or 3 super laser blasts. He had Nebula Ignition in his deck. Okay.
Fantastic.
So it was absolutely 100% hard control, and he had to fight really hard to win some of those matches, because some of them were really, really close. Like in the quarterfinals, we cast him for the first time, and he got down to, in game 3, Jack. If you guys remember, Jack was playing Han Green at the Houston PQ here. Trey and I, we had him on in round 7. Against Ari's Piet Red, right? He was the one that she might have been able to get him out with Devastator. Anyway, so Jack,
she would have.
Jack was top 8. We had three Houston players in the top 8 in Austin yesterday, and Jack was playing Joel in the first round in the quarterfinals, the top 8, and they got all the way to game 3. And man, I could have sworn Jack was going to get him. It looked really, really bad for Joel, but Joel just kept drawing into the right cards to blow units off the board, and eventually Jack couldn't get there. So Joel played a really good day, and I mean, playing hard control all day, that's got to be mentally exhausting. When the whole thing was over, he kind of just took a huge breath. It was like, oh my God, like he just looked exhausted.
Why did I do this to myself?
Yeah, almost, right? And I had my co-caster yesterday was Cooper up from San Antonio. You guys have probably met him before. He was at the Conroe PQ back in January, and we had a fantastic conversation during the finals match. I can't wait to publish that as a video, because talking through, there's a lot of hatred for control decks in this game. In general, just control as a concept in general. I'm on that boat. I admit this about myself. This is a blind spot of mine, I suppose. But we had a really good conversation about, just playing them, playing against them, why they're necessary, why people don't like them, so on and so forth. It was a really, really good conversation. I'm thinking about game 2, I think it was game 2 of the final match. That went on for a while. So I'm looking forward to going back and replaying that and kind of listening to him school me on some things. Because as long as I've been playing TCGs, I have never cared for cards that basically say, oh, you want to do a thing? I cancel that thing. Oh, you want to play the game? I say no. And so
it's similar to the deck he was playing was similar to like Trace.
Very similar to that Palpatine deck that Trey's got built.
Where
right? Like,
you don't play any cards, you let Trey play cards, and you just sit there and scratch your head.
You basically
everything gets murdered.
You sit at the table and scratch your balls while Trey plays the game. Basically, is kind of that way. And
that's not true at all. I wait for you to play a card, and then I just make it irrelevant.
Exactly.
Everything you're doing at this table is irrelevant. You should just scoop.
But as Coop was pointing out, one of the things you have to do is in certain deck types is train yourself to how to play differently, how to adapt your game differently into that control matchup. And it's difficult. I'll say one of the conversations we had was in Star Wars Unlimited, it can be difficult because not a lot of people play hard control. It's a very, it seems to be a rarer deck type in this game than many others. And as a result, knowing having a good line of how to tackle that matchup is difficult. And also finding someone in your local play group who's willing to play it and get good at it and know how to, and is willing to sit down across from you and let you, beat your head against it for a while, and try to figure it out.
It's boring to play.
It's exactly. And that's one of
but it's really good.
A lot of people won't play it for that reason. But anyway, so
I take like 4 decks with me. Every Tuesday, I take 4 decks with me. One of them is this deck for people that want to play hardcore, but I will never pick it up because it's so boring. It's so much less fun to play than like Dooku or Poe or
exactly
Rose.
So anyway, we had a great conversation. I look forward to doing that again, and maybe that's another topic we can tackle down the road here on the podcast because that would be a lot of fun. All right, guys, let's call it. It's late. I need to finish this up so I can get this all published and pushed out to the internets for the rest of the week. So
send it to the internet.
Send it to the internets, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Well, listen, guys, appreciate you being here. Thanks for tuning in. Give us a like and a subscribe and a follow or whatever, depending on wherever you are. I don't know what platform you listen on, but we appreciate all the feedback. And we'll see you guys next episode. Peace. Take care.